Today's dedication is for Zahn, who gave me a very generous 1 year's worth of subscriptions on Patreon. Valgavoth, Terra Eater, versus partners Chrome and Silas Wren, Joda, and Henzi. One lander, obviously going to mulligan that, and then into a hand that's not particularly good, but do we really want to go down a card? I think I do here, because we're in top deck mode pretty much. We're doing absolutely nothing with that one. So down a card we go, immediately punished by drawing into another one lander. So we're going down 2 cards apparently. Alright, that is the best thing we've seen, so get rid of Murderous Rider. And the Sheoldred, I think. We've got 6 mana there, our commander is 9 I think. Sheoldred's just going to eat removal anyway. Executioner's Capsule can not go after our commander. Noteworthy, so we'll go through to our turn here. A Solemn Simulacrum, we're just slowly ramping I think. Noteworthy there is an Urborg here, so could draw into Cabal Coffers. A Search for Tomorrow being suspended by Joda. Oh, that must have been suspended on turn 1 because it's a Prismatic Omen now. Alright, a Dark Deal, so we don't get to refill our hand with that. We do need cards in our own hand in order to make that relevant, so not likely going to do much with that. Play the Felwar Stone, and thanks to the Urborg it's noteworthy that the Felwar Stone will tap for black mana for us. Toolbox is the first commander. Search for Tomorrow now resolving, goes for any basic into play. Managing to get into a Sensei's Divining Top after that, and spins the top straight away, 4 cards in hand. Did play a Terramorphic Expanse this turn, but instead of getting out a tap land, managed to make use of it, thanks to it tapping for any colour with the Prismatic Omen. Master Thopterist from the multicolour player here. So from the cards we've seen so far, we'll assume that this is Grixis Artifacts. So hopefully we get into a land here, because that will mean we can go Solemn Simulacrum. But no such luck, it is a Withering Torment, so now the question is, do we go for the Dark Ritual so that we can go for the Solemn and the Jet Medallion? We'd still only be on 5 lands at that point, so not much point in wasting the Dark Ritual here. Might as well just go for the Jet Medallion, and if we miss another land next turn we'll have to waste the Dark Ritual on the Solemn Simulacrum. Enduring Courage into play. And the Blitz cost has been paid there, so it does have haste. Swings in down the middle with the 3/3. So Enduring Courage was sacrificed there to the Blitz cost and comes back in as an enchantment. So is going to be able to give creatures haste upon entry. Academy Rector, so hopefully, maybe it's going to be worth keeping hold of the Withering Torment. Hopefully we won't see anything too crazy when this dies. Pithing Needle into play now, going to name the Sensei's Top you would assume. And that did make the first Thopter token into Sai, and does name the Sensei's Top. Plays a Soul Guide Lantern after that, so bit of graveyard hate. Running out of cards if he keeps playing the small spells here though, 3 in hand. Exiles the Search for Tomorrow when the Lantern enters. Alright, Moment of Truth. Turn 4, do we get into a 3rd land? We do. It's a Cabal Coffers though, so hopefully this player sticks it out because we're going to need it. And it just so happens that we need at least 3 swamps to make the Cabal Coffers relevant as well, so Solemn Simulacrum into play here. And thanks to us keeping hold of the Dark Ritual, we may well be able to go for Valgavoth sooner than later. Garruk's Uprising for the Jund player. Wrath of God from the 5 colour player, so we'll assume that he's just really trying to get the Academy Rector to go and grab something here. Master Thopterist drawing a card by sacrificing his Thopters on the way out. We got Solemn into play in just the nick of time apparently. Each opponent's graveyard exiled with the Soul Guide Lantern. Not sure why he felt the need to do that there, that could have waited, there's no real benefit of doing that. Anyway, draw to the Solemn, do get into another land, which means we've got 9 mana available to us next turn with a Dark Ritual, but we only need 8 for the Valgavoth. Don't have any means of protecting this unfortunately, but if we get it down this early in the game then they may not be able to pay the ward cost. And then we see a Planeswalker, Karn, Scion of Urza, and goes for the Construct straight away, which is a 3/3. So let's see if we can do something annoying against our opponents here. Draw into another land. So 3 lands in a row, including the Cabal Coffers. Can't really complain though. So we don't even need to really bother playing the Dark Ritual, do we? Might as well keep hold of it. Try get Valgavoth down. A turn 5, 9 mana commander's pretty good. Oh, is that why did I miss some interaction with the... Might be actually very well played by our opponent with that Soul Guide Lantern. He didn't grab anything with this, so that's a trigger that goes on the stack and you have to exile it from the graveyard. Is that how it works? Yeah, when it dies you may exile it, so you have to say yes to that, and they didn't get a chance to thanks to the Soul Guide Lantern, so that was actually, I take it back, very well played by our opponent. Speaking of which, each player sacrifices a creature, just so happens to have an edict effect against us, so I'm definitely glad that I held on to the Dark Ritual now. Yeah, I eat my words with that Soul Guide Lantern play. In fact, we still don't need to use the Dark Ritual next turn, I don't think. Just drop a land and make use of Cabal Coffers again. Joda Archmage Eternal into play now with 4 cards in hand. Still unable to spin Sensei's Divine in top. Did tap out though, so assuming that he's not holding up an offer you can't refuse or swords, anything like that. Karn goes down to 1 loyalty and makes another construct, still at a 3-3. And then played a Fortuitous Find, so returned Psymaster Thopterus from graveyard to hand. Was that an instant? No, a 3-mana sorcery. Alright, I think that's 4 lands in a row now. I mean, it just so happens we need a hell of a lot of mana in this deck anyway. So we'll see if the blue player is holding up counter magic for us. We've still managed to not use the Dark Ritual, so we could always replay it again next turn. They are holding up priority, but allow the commander into play. They could pay the ward cost as well, but they're going to have to lose a decent number of permanents to do it. The Henzi is back into play with Haste and Trample, cantripped with the Garruk's Uprising as well, so has 7 cards in hand. Decides not to swing though. And before we make it round to Joda's step, the Joda Archmage Eternal goes down to the Executioner's Capsule, so that gives them fewer permanents to sacrifice to get rid of our Valgavoth at least. Question is this some kind of board wipe tribal list? I'm still not sure what Joda's really aiming for here. Casts a Ponder, looks at the top 3 and draws. Throws an Arcane Signet into play after that, and just decides to pass priority with 4 cards in hand, so it's up to the partner player to do something about us. Psymaster Thopterist into play, and if they manage to get a Thopter, then I was looking at going after the Karn just so that we can steal it, but might be that we're unable to do that. And yep, there's a Foundry Inspector, going to put a flying blocker in the way. They have ticked up on the Karn, by the way, at some point, probably this turn. Ugin the Ineffable we do not want to see. Soul Guide Lantern into play, puts 2 Thopters in the way. And they target the sorcery over here, exiling with the Lantern. Oh, they got the Lantern back with the Fortuitous Find, so they got both Psy and the Lantern back with that. Didn't know you could do both. So the construct is now a 6-6. And we now have access to Ponder and the Executioner's Capsule. Can we get rid of artifacts with this? Yeah, it's just any non-black creature. Alright, there's a Defile, so we could go Executioner's Capsule and Defile onto a Thopter, blow up the Karn. So let's play a Swamp. Go for the Ponder first, I think, because that might dictate what we do this turn. There is a Read the Bones. Still plenty of lands here, so it can be basic, Mana Confluence, Read the Bones, and we can scry those lands to the bottom with Read the Bones, so I won't bother shuffling here. Play the Capsule as well. Then let's go after destroying a Thopter and defiling a Thopter as well. The partner player really starting to get a bit of an engine going here, so if I can slow him down by getting rid of the Karn, that would be ideal. So attack the Planeswalker, and we'll gain some life in the process here. Haven't put too much life into our commander yet, and that means that Ugin is now stuck in exile, which is good. So now I suppose we'll tap down the Cabal Coffers and go Read the Bones. I imagine we are going for Karn this turn, but just in case, we'll do this first. So we know the 2 lands are on top, we'll put them both on the bottom, draw into 2 fresh new cards, one of which is a Hostile Negotiations. So let's go for the Negotiations, we'll hardcast that. Got the mana floating anyway, so we might as well. Alright, which one are we going to turn face up? I think... I don't think they're going to give us this pile either way, but I think our best chance is showing them this one. So we'll just show them that and hope that we get the Mithril Coat. Point it at the Joda player. We're hoping for the bottom pile here because I want Mesmeric Orb and the Mithril Coat. Alright, and we do get that, that's excellent. So in that case, let's go Mithril Coat onto our commander right now. And the Psy player is consistently holding up mana, so I'm not sure what he's got for us. Could still have a swords against the Mithril Coat. Let's get down the Karn now for 4 life. And we might as well put a construct in the way here. We feel as though the Planeswalker's going to go down anyway, then at least we got a free creature out of the deal. I think it's worth using the Dark Ritual for the Mesmeric Orb here, because we're going to have a lot of spells available to us from that, so get that into play as well. And that is a very constructive turn for us, I think. Obviously buff the creature with the Mesmeric Orb as well. So we get 5 Mesmeric Orb triggers to start off with from the Jund player. Noteworthy, we can only play these spells from exile during our turn. But there's a World Spine Worm, a couple of lands, a Riveteer's Ascendancy, and an Archon of Cruelty. So getting rid of the Edict is good. Half the reason that I went for the Construct as well is so that we're somewhat... yeah, we have a bit of a defense against the Edict effects. Getting down the Murderous Rider might be useful for that as well. Could still see Farewell and bounces, Cyclonic Rift, things like that, so we haven't automatically won here. Our opponent goes for Deathreap Ritual, so wants to draw a card when he sees things die. Isn't getting into too much blitz stuff at the moment. Alright, well, we're seeing all the big spells here. Aminatu's Augury is the first one. Some lands and an Anguished Unmaking. Going to be losing a hell of a lot of life if we're not careful. A Rhystic Study, and it does count as casting when we pay for life for things from exile, so likely going to feed our opponent a lot of lands with that, or a lot of cards even. Soulguide Lantern being sacrificed to draw a card there. And then it's round to the partner player, a Mirage Mirror, some lands, Mimic Vat, and an Arcane Signet. Mimic Vat might be interesting because we could just get a 3-mana commander out. Vandal Blast, I'm glad my opponent didn't have access to, same with the Dak Faden. Silas Wren coming into play, and that does trigger the Psymaster Thopterist. It's an artifact creature. Okay, and the 5-colour player just deciding to scoop there, so we won't have access to that Aminatu's Augury, unfortunately. A Whir of Invention, where X is 1, so just going for a 1-mana artifact. And that is the Shadow Spear, so wants to give that to the Construct and get rid of the Karn Planeswalker, I'm guessing. So does equip it over there. Can also remove Indestructible with this, I think. Yeah, Hexproof and Indestructible, which is relevant with our commander at the moment. So does go after the Karn. We'll allow it. So now I'm wondering if we go after the Dak Faden, so that we can steal the Shadow Spear away and give our commander trample against these Thopters. That might be an idea. And also it keeps them from doing the removal of Indestructible thing. Alright, so Mesmeric Orb triggers on our turn as well, but we don't exile the stuff from our side of the field, it's only our opponent's things. Alright, draw ourselves into a Bubbling Muck, which with this hand I don't think we're going to make too much use of. I think we definitely want the Dak Faden. Can we pay the overload costs on Vandal Blast? No, I don't think we can, unfortunately. So let's go for the minus on Dak Faden straight away. We'll steal that Shadow Spear. And they're paying into the loss of Indestructible and Hexproof on the way out, just hoping that the Jund player can do something. I think having the Mimic Vat in play is going to be a good idea as well. Although I think we're going to be able to actually afford to recast our commander again a few times as long as we keep hold of the Cabal Coffers. I'm remiss to take our opponent's lands, because if they leave then they'll take the lands with them, so if we're desperate for a land drop for the turn we can do that, but we'll play our own lands here. If we knew our opponents were going to stick it out, we'd take theirs, keep cards in our hand. Now, the Jund player may well scoop to the Archon of Cruelty, so we'll do that first, because he'll take that with him. If he does scoop, we're down to 24, getting a little bit of life from the Archon at least. And we drew into Toxic Deluge, so... could get rid of a lot of our opponent's stuff with that. They get a debuff of 3 on this, so we only have to put 3 into that. Although we'd put 4 because of the Psymaster Thopterist. Yeah, let's get some more artifacts into play to buff our construct. And we'll just exile the Karn over here. Maybe could have gone for the Executioner's Capsule actually, but I suppose we're in a black deck, so it probably won't matter. Play the Arcane Signet as well. And before I forget, we want to equip the Shadow Spear. It doesn't look as though this player is scooping after all, so we could take commander damage in over there. The Construct can gain us some more life and go into the right. So we'll gain the life now and then do the Toxic Deluge afterwards, I think. Deciding to throw the Silas in the way because that has Death Touch. That's fine, we're about to wipe the board anyway. It's more the life gain I'm concerned with here. Although, yeah, maybe I should have gone for the Toxic Deluge before then to keep the big creature available to us. So now we can tap down the Cabal Coffers. Again, don't think we need the Bubbling Muck this turn. Make 8 mana from the coffers. This player scoops as we assumed he would. So that attack was just wasted. Not sure why he waited that long. But we could have had 9 commander damage on this guy. So let's go for... yeah, we do 4 into the Deluge. Takes us down to 39 life. Obviously just gained a bunch of life. And now we'll get ourselves a Master Thopterist. This is pretty much how the deck runs. We want to steal all our opponent's stuff, really. Could have gone for a Mana Crypt back in the day, but won't be able to put anything into X on the War of Invention. Play Foundry Inspector into the Sai, which triggers it for a Thopter. And I have held up blue mana. I play things like Felwar Stone and the Mana Confluence, cards like that can tap for our opponent's colours, because we'll be able to make use of their activated abilities with things like Master Thopterist, but our opponent decides to scoop there as well. Yeah, we weren't drawing into anything too incredible, but of course if our opponent can't get rid of the Mesmeric Orb, then we're going to keep stealing his stuff. So yeah, a few constructive turns there. There was a point at which we weren't sure if we were going to be able to get into our commander, but the Cabal Coffers off the top and our opponent not scooping with Urborg in play made all the difference. So hopefully you all enjoyed this revisit to Valgavoth before we get into the new core set. And I will see you all in the next one, I hope. Massive thank you to the patrons for their financial support of the channel as well. I'm tribalkai. Thank you for watching.